Hello, welcome to Magic. This is Richard. Today we're going to be covering transaction signing. In terms of how Magic provides you with a vast array of options on how you can handle transaction signing or any signing operations really, whether that's send transaction or personal sign. I'll be going over the default behavior for when you set up that kind of action for your user. And other non-default options that you can configure for your application really literally at the click of a toggle. Before I continue going forward, I will want to point out that the section I'm going over that you're looking at, transaction signing inner documentation, which is under docs, wallets, features transaction signing. This covers a portion of what we're covering. This is something you have to actually intentionally configure on for your app. This is not the default option, but we will be covering the default behavior. I also want to point out that you will need a Magic developer account. And if you don't have one, you can go to magic.link and easily create that. Magic.link, start now, create an account. It's super simple and quick. And create an app. And once you do, you'll be looking at something like this. And last, I do expect you to be able to follow along with me in React.js. The quick start that we'll be using to kind of go over this will be a scaffolded Next.js application. And so having some of that knowledge will make this video that much more useful to you. So let's begin. If you have created an application and you are staring at this exact same thing that I'm staring at, you'll notice that there is a quick start section here, and this command will create a Next.js application, like I said, and it'll automatically start this application locally so that you can test out what a Magic app or one iteration of a Magic app looks like. And you can use that, of course, to build from it, dismantle it, learn from it. So I'll be pasting that in here. I'll be naming this signature request UI, and we'll wait for this to finish. Now that we have this application started, I'll just head over to it, localhost 3000. And you should be staring at this page here. This is the login page, of course, using Magic. And before I go through any of these flows, I'm first going to go over the code very briefly to show you what code we're actually calling before actually going through with this. So here I'm going to navigate into signature request UI, and let's open the repo and take a look. All right, so here I am. These were already open, so apparently I was already in here. In any case, let's start from the beginning. Okay, so before we go into this, I want to point out that this is a quick start demo. It's one that everyone has access to. You can download this and check it out yourself. When you do, this environment variable file is going to be pre-populated with your application's API key, named next public Magic API key, and the network you'll be configured to. We wanted to create this application so that you can quickly change networks to fit whichever one any of our developers want to build on, because there's so many out there. And we didn't want to create the quick start in a way where it was difficult to do that. And so I'll go over the significance of how these are being used. But first, let me show you where Magic is being created. You'll go to Components, Magic Provider. And in here, this is quite literally where Magic is created. You're bringing in Magic, and of course, you are instantiating Magic. You are passing in that API key for your application. in network, this is where you configure your network. You'll notice that there is two functions here. We'll get to that in a second. Then we create magic, we set magic, and through the provider we pass it around their application, and it's on that magic instance. You'll be calling other modules and methods on it to help your developer experience. Now, these two helper functions here, they're going to be in utils network, and based on which network you have set here, by the way, I should make this Ethereum Sepolia. What happens is in the utils function, it's going to return the URL based on what I have set here, the RPC URL and the chain ID. So now that I have this set in the magic instance, this, or the constructor I should say, we're going to get back the RPC URL, the chain ID for Ethereum Sepolia. And so this instance of magic is actually a Ethereum Sepolia configured instance of magic. Okay. Now, all that is to say that each magic instance is configured in the one network. You can have as many magic instances as you'd like, but in any case, for the purpose of this video, we'll be on Sepolia. Now, with that created magic, we're going to be passing it out to our auth page here, our auth component, magic auth email OTP. And in here, based on, I shouldn't say based on, but what you saw earlier, the localhost 3000, that application, when I type in an email address, it's actually passing it into this method here called magic.auth.login with email OTP. You submit the email with it, and it starts the authentication flow, which I'll show you. And I realize I'm showing you all of this just to show you what transaction kind of UI UX looks like. So just follow along with me for a second here. Let me finish this. I'm going to log in. I'm going to get my email OTP. And the OTP is 520-582-906. Okay. All right, so I'm logged in now. And in the wallet component here, it says here I'm connected to Ethereum Sepolia, got my address, and 0 Sepolia ETH. And I am broke. Okay, so if I want to show you the transaction, I have to get some ETH for myself. So let me copy this. You can go get some test ETH yourself by clicking on this button, but I already have a little bit. So let me send myself 1, because I'm a baller. All right, I'm gonna send 1 out to myself. That's pending. Once that's in, we will go over the default behavior of magic. And of course, I'm going to show you the code to illustrate that there's actually no approval or confirmation kind of setup in this code. Let me refresh, got the 1. Okay. I am going to send some back to myself. So let me just set this up. I'm going to paste in the address that I sent from. I will send myself 0.1. And before I do that, I'll show you here in, again, components, magic, cards, send transaction. When I put in the amount and the address and I click that send button, it's going to fire off this function here, a couple checks, whether it's an address, whether it's a number. I'm going to be constructing my transaction object, and then immediately calling web3.eth.send transaction. Doesn't matter if you use Veeam or Ethers or Web3, this is going to prompt the user to sign that transaction. Now, if you're used to other third-party wallets or external wallets like MetaMask, this is where the user sees a prompt. Hey, this is what you're signing. Is this what you want to do? This is the confirmation, the transaction details. You'll notice that there's nothing in here that kind of prompts the user. There's no UI being displayed or anything. The only UI being displayed is on, not transaction hash, but on receipt, we'll display a toast. So once we send transaction, on hash, we'll post that hash to the console, and then on receipt, we'll post or display a toast. So let me just show that to you. I'm going to open up the console and click send transaction. There's the hash, still no UI. And then eventually on receipt, the user all this time is potentially wondering what's happening, and transaction successful. So admittedly not the best way to handle a send transaction, but nonetheless the point here is to illustrate that the default behavior for when you ask the user to sign any transaction or a message is that it's silent. It happens behind the scenes. And what that sets up is the ability for you to create the experience that you see fit for your application and for your user base, whether they're super Web 2 newbies or Web 3 natives, whatever it is, you can construct the experience that you want for your application. And so I could have easily set up some confirmation modal to pop up and have user confirm before calling web3.eth.send transaction. That's totally up to you to do. You can do that, or you don't need to. And based on what we've seen is it really depends on the application and even the action itself. Some applications want to be very explicit. Some don't want the user to know that they're signing some message so that they could do one of many things, potentially take that hash message back to their backend and recover it. So whatever your use case is, Magic gives you max optionality to pick your desired UX. Now, let me just quickly refresh this and just confirm that it was actually sent out. Check here if I got it back. Perfect. Okay, now I'll go over what this page in our docs is going over. Magic offers out-of-the-box UI for what you might be used to if you're coming from a MetaMask world, where a developer or an app calls a key operation method, and all of a sudden something else takes over and prompts the user. We offer this out of the box. It is for free, and it literally is a switch of a toggle. Like, that's not a gimmick, and I'll show it to you. If you do have this toggled on for your application, it's no longer silent signing. You'll go through, or your user will go through a series of flows here, whether it's for a send transaction. Send transaction literally will show the user transaction details, and if it's a personal sign, then they will see the signing details of what they're signing. Very quick section in our docs. You can go over it. However, much of what I'll be going over today is actually more than this. It goes over and beyond what this page will explain. So let me just show you here. Back to our app in the dashboard. We'll go to customization, UI widgets, and in here we see signature request UI. Okay, I'm literally just toggling this on. I am not going to do any code changes. I've only added this comment in, nothing else. I will head back to my app. I'm going to disconnect and refresh just to make sure that the configuration settings have made its way. And did I refresh? Yeah, okay. So let me log back in. Click login. Let me get my 6-digit OTP again. Okay, so here I am. So it's the same address, same balance, and this time I am going to send 0.1 back to myself. Send transaction. And now you'll notice it's not a sign-in signing. Our out-of-the-box UI pops up. It gives the user some basic information, as in which network am I on? How much do I currently have? What am I sending? From where to who? Network gas fee information. Gives me a chance to just kind of look at this and go, yeah, that's for sure what I want to do. And the user clicks send. Same thing happens, the hash. Our UI does not go away. It provides a quick little loading, as you have seen. It started, complete. You can click on the link here, check it out on the blockchain and see, yeah, cool, my transaction's actually pending. Of course, it won't be Sepolia Explorer if you're on a different chain. And unfortunately, you can't see here, but that toast still went up behind this. So there was a toast up here because in our code, the toast is still here. Okay. I will call out that this signing modal is only supported on Ethereum, Polygon, Base, Arbitrum, Optimism, and Flow as of this writing or this recording. And so it won't work for any others that are any other networks that are not on this list down here. And with that, it gives your application the option to use our out-of-the-box UI to give the users exactly what they need. Or you can use our default behavior and create a maximally crafted kind of user experience that you deem best for your users and your application. Now, there is one little nuance I'll be going over in the same dashboard here. Okay, let's move on from signature request UI in terms of what I just showed you. And there's a slightly different behavior here if you go to settings and you enable sign confirmation. Now, this is a security setting. What that means is this still happens, but there's an added security layer for the benefit of your app, for your app users. It adds a little bit of friction, and so we have it off by default. You are more than welcome to use it if it's something that you deem valuable to your application. And again, I'll go over it first, and I'll kind of show you what I mean by this security feature. The security feature, let's just first read what it says here. When signature request UI is used, help protect users by enabling them to confirm in a new browser tab. Notice when you first did it here, or recall when you first did it here, the pop-up of our UI displayed in-app, the user clicked sign, and it went on its merry way. There are some apps out there that would prefer that the approval took place on a domain managed, maintained by Magic. Okay, so let me log in here again and show you. So I'm logged back in. Same address. This is my balance. And let me get my address that I want to send some back to. Now this time, you'll notice the exact same behavior with a slight nuance, which I'll go over. Okay, send transaction. Again, the pop-up. This is our out-of-the-box UI. I will click send this time, but instead of just kind of showing the user a loading screen here, it's going to pop me out into a different context. And notice that this domain is maintained by us. It's auth.magic.link. And the user was redirected here to pop up automatically. The user is then going to click confirm. It will close the tab, send the user back to the original context, and the user continues their flow. What is the significance of this? Well, there are some applications out there that don't want the user or don't want to host the user's approval button because for a myriad of reasons. One of them could be maybe synchronous phishing, and so kind of shifting that responsibility back to Magic where the user has to do that action on our domain, can give the application or the developer kind of that peace of mind, like, hey, Magic's taking care of that. I don't need to worry about that. And so it's really the same feature with an extra security layer. And so that's the kind of the nuance I wanted to go over here. So close, same thing. And so really, if you wanted that, it's technically now 2 toggles, right? Customization, UI widgets, you turn on signature request UI. If that's great, good. If you want the user to go through that approval flow in a pop-up tab by auth.magic.link, you would enable sign confirmation here. Some of the callouts for that, where it might not work too well: in-app browsers, like if you're in, I don't know, Instagram or some other application's native app, where when they open up your application, that browser isn't really in a browser, like a Safari or a Google Chrome. What I mean is that browser is displayed within that native app. And in terms like that, in conditions like that, the pop-up might not occur. And so that's something you may want to take into consideration. That security upgrade may not be the best UX for your use case. But in any case, that is a decision that we believe is best made by you, because it is your application and you will know your users better than us, and you'll understand what they can handle and what level of security that they need. So just wanted to recap real quick. Today we covered transaction signing or message signing, key operations. Magic, our default operation is to silent sign. Leave the UI UX up to you. And of course, if you want to leverage our UI, you go to customization, UI widgets, toggle this on, settings. If you want that extra security layer, sign confirmation. A lot more information than what this one page shows. So hopefully you understand now kind of the wide array of UX that we offer to you. We hope to continue offering you better support. If there's any other requests that you have, please let us know. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I will see you again. Thank you. Bye-bye.